Hello and welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Hello, LVScom. Lovely to see you. How are you? Are you doing well? Are you having a good day? Um, it's a hot day, like every other day in Malta at the moment. Steaming hot. Boiling. Yes, very hot. I hope all of you are doing well and that you had a lovely morning and that your lessons are going well. Maria Rojas, hello, good afternoon. With a emoji, which I think is that a hot is that an emoji for feeling hot? Irina says hello, Irina. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Can I find? I'm glad that you guys have found the video. Can I find the video and share it? Leondina says good afternoon. Yes, good. Like that can be shared. Leondina says hi. Irina says PW. Oh, PW. PW. What does that mean? I think I've forgotten what that means. You're going to have to remind me what PW means. Was it something that looks like an abbreviation of some kind? Not sure. Mariana says, good afternoon, Richard. Yes. Oh, right. Yes. Sad because quarantine. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that is sad. That's very annoying. Arena says hi. And Alejandra says hi. Good afternoon. Let's see. Let's test out my my language skills. So we have Spanish. So buenas tardes. We have Italian. Buono pomeriggio. Russian. Sorry, no, I don't know what good afternoon is in Russian. And of course, good afternoon. Buono notte, fratre. Good afternoon. Buono not buono. Yes, I see. Yes. Buon. Yes, that's correct. Good. Yes. No, my pronunciation of anything that is not English is usually pretty bad. I'm a terrible student. I mean, I have an Italian surname, but that did nothing for my ability to learn Italian. I lived in Florence actually for a while. Back in 2010, absolutely loved it. I went to some Italian lessons, and I didn't learn very much. I can't remember my Italian, to be honest. I don't think I even got to an elementary level. It was that bad. I was that bad at it. Stefano says good afternoon. I don't know. If I could learn another language, I'm 33. So if I could learn a language, a foreign language, by the time I'm 40, I would be amazed and delighted. Tried Spanish last year. Probably should try and continue. I think that's the problem. I'm not good at continuing in my I'm not disciplined enough when it comes to learning a language. But you guys are. You guys are very disciplined in learning a language. You're all here, which is great. And you can understand me. So that's fantastic. Because if we were speaking Italian at the moment, I can assure you it would be bad. I've lived in Malta for 8 years, and my Maltese is terrible. Just ask any of the other teachers at AM. They will tell you Richard cannot speak Maltese. Actually, some of you might have a teacher named Lisa. She has been very patient with me. She's tried to teach me some Maltese, and it's terrible. It really is. I can't say anything. Okay, so we're now up to a good number of people, so we can begin. So today's lesson is going to be on the third conditional. Now, this is going to be an interesting lesson for some people. LBScom, Richard, where are you from? I am from the UK. Specifically, I'm English. I am from the north part of England, from a county or region called Yorkshire. So I grew up quite close to a city called Leeds, and for another time, a city called York. So I grew up in the rain. Now, I don't have a northern accent, though. I have a very neutral English accent. It's what we would call RP English. But yeah, so I'm from the cold, to be honest. Having said that, I do have plenty of Mediterranean family, that's why I think I like the Mediterranean food and climate and wine. Afriel, what brings you to Malta? That's a really interesting question. Maybe this should be maybe I should reserve some time for like a story time. Long story short, Fratre, I fell down a mountain. Not one mountain. I fell down two mountains. I wanted to be a ski instructor in Switzerland. I fell down the mountain and I came to Malta to recover. And I never left, and I'm still here 8 years later. But that's actually for a story time. Maybe one time I'll do a story about how I became an English teacher, how I came to Malta. But it does involve a couple of skiing accidents, a couple of helicopter rides to the hospital with broken parts. I do love skiing. I really love skiing, but no, I fell down the mountain too many times. Maria Rojas, your accent is clear. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I have a voice for BBC News, if I'm being honest with you. So, the third conditional. That's the point. Cheers. Afternoon tea. It's 4 o'clock. Well, just gone 4 o'clock, so I like my afternoon tea. So, what is the third conditional? How do we make it? And why is it good to know? Now, I know we have lots of different levels here, so we're going to slowly work our way up because it can be a little bit difficult, but I'm feeling confident today. So, we'll start. First of all, of course, we're going to be creating the third conditional with if, okay? So, this is the third conditional. So, the first thing we need to know is that we're going to have to create if plus had plus past participle. Now, in case you're thinking, oh gosh, what is this? In simple terms, it's if plus past perfect. Okay. So, for instance, if I had gone home, for example, if I hadn't been in Malta, if I hadn't been born in the UK. Okay, so I'm just going to concentrate on the first bit of this construction. The important thing we need to know when making or when talking about a third conditional, we're always talking about, I'm going to put this in two ways, alternative past, or in simple terms, a different past that did not happen. So we're talking about a past that did not happen. That is the important thing. So we've got if plus the past perfect. So if I had gone home, if I hadn't been in Malta, if I hadn't been born in the UK, if I had learnt Italian. Okay, so we've always got this had plus the past participle verb. Okay, so and that's the really important thing. We must remember the past participle verb. The second part, okay, so once we've got if plus the past perfect, we then are going to go with this. Plus, and in simple terms, it's would plus present perfect. And that's what you need to remember. Present perfect. So, for example, if I had gone home, in February, I would have been in the UK during lockdown. Okay, so I wasn't in the UK, I was here. But if I had gone home, then I would have been in the UK during lockdown. If I hadn't been in Malta in 2020, I would have been in the UK. So in this case, I am in Malta and I have been in Malta. But I'm saying that if I hadn't been in Malta, then I would have been in the UK. So a different situation. Let's look at the last one. If I hadn't been born in the UK. So if I hadn't been born in the UK, I would have been born in Canada. Okay, so if I hadn't been born in the UK, I would have been born in Canada, for example. So I was born in the UK, but in a different past, maybe Canada. Or in this case, more certain, because I'm using would, so it would have been Canada. If I had learned Italian, so if I had learned Italian in 2010, I would have worked in Rome, for example. So I didn't learn Italian. I couldn't speak Italian. I can't speak Italian. But if I did, then if I had learned Italian, then I would have worked in Rome because it would have been possible. So it's all alternative past. It's a different past. The past never happened, as I'm saying. And that's the important thing. It's a hypothetical past. So let's have a little look. Okay, the first thing we need to make sure when we're making this is knowing our past perfect in terms of the past participle. So we're going to start off with this exercise, making sure we all know what the past participle is for each of these verbs. So let's go. So one, let's start off with if I had. Let's start off with a must-know one. Okay. So this is number one. If I had something be born in Spain. Okay. So what do you think the past participle of be in this case is? Do you think it's, what would your options be? Bean, Alejandra says. Elvius Com, bean. Excellent. Brilliant. Perfect. Fantastic start. Okay, so now that you know that one, which is a very important one to know, let's move on to the next one. If I had something. Excellent. Okay, so been, had been. Stefano, if you hadn't got hurting yourself consistently with your skiing and flying accidents, we wouldn't have been lucky to have you as a teacher. Thank you very much, Stefano. Very close. If you hadn't got hurt. If you hadn't hurt yourself. Actually, that's going to be the correct one. So you don't need got there, Stefano. You can just say if you hadn't hurt yourself. That would be one way of putting it. Or if you hadn't got hurt when skiing. Yes, there's ways of playing around with it. I'll finish off with that one later. So let's look at the next one. So next one, if I had, okay, this is going to be positive. So if I had something to South America. So now we need to think of the past participle of go. So your options: go, went, gone. Which one is it? Go, went, one. What do you think? If I had go to South America, if I had went to South America, or if I had gone to South America? Excellent. Bravo. Well done, everyone. It is gone. Okay. Let's go. Let's go again. If I hadn't, let's go with the negative. I hadn't, let's go with, so if I hadn't, okay, we've got apply, regular verb, and don't forget, when you have a regular verb and you've got the Y, you need to think of what happens to the Y. So yes, there's going to be ED, but sometimes when the word is with a Y, and not just sometimes, but most of the times, with one or two exceptions, the Y becomes an I. So, Leondina, if I hadn't applied for the job, good, well done. Yes, so applied. In case you're, yes, well done, applied, 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 very good. In case you're not too sure about the word applied, here we're talking about asking for a job. You see a job advertised and you apply for the job. You put yourself forward for the job. Good, we're doing a fantastic job. Well done. Now let's look at the second part of this third conditional. So we go back through some of the examples because now that we have some examples ready. So let's go with been. Okay, so if I hadn't been born in the UK, comma, I would have, actually, you need to create the present perfect. So I'm going to let you guys create the whole present perfect, yeah? In, let's say, okay. So we're going to go through the examples that we looked at, except now we're going to look at the alternatives. Not the alternatives, the second part of the third conditional. So we got the first one right, if I hadn't been born in the UK. But now we need the second bit. And don't forget, you need to use the present perfect. And you're going to use the modal verb would. Have been born, says Leondina. Let's see if everyone else agrees. So if I hadn't been born in the UK, I would have been born in Italy. Have been born in Italy, I would have been born in Italy. Excellent. Very good. Well done. Now, when would we use this? Well, if your parents are Italian and you know your parents lived in Italy, and then they moved to another country, it meant that there was a possibility in the past where you could have been born in Italy because your parents lived in Italy. If you, let's say, if your parents are South American and they get married, let's say they get married in Colombia, for a period of time, it would have been possible for you to have been born in Colombia. But at some point, they moved to Australia, and you're Australian. So your parents are Colombian, but you were born in Australia. So it's talking about it was a possible past. That's what we're looking at. Good. Well done, guys. We're off to a really good start. Let's go with the next one, which was go, if I had gone. So if I had gone home, in February, I would your choice of country. So if I had gone home in February, I forgot the comma, which is no good because we need to put a comma, and I forgot the comma. So let me write this one again. Comma, there we go. So, and I foolishly left out the I in if. Well, that's no good, Richard. Here we go. That makes much more sense. So if I had gone home in February, comma, I would in your name of the name of your home country during lockdown. During lockdown. So let's see what you guys write. So again, it's a similar thing with the previous one. It's going to be a very similar situation with the present perfect, and then in the name of your country. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys write in order to complete this type of sentence. And then we will move on to the next thing where we're going to try and talk about meaning as well, because the meaning of this is important. Maria Horoja says, if I had gone home in February, I would have been in Malta during lockdown. Okay, if your home is Malta, then that would make sense, providing you were in a different country at the time. Elvius Khan says, I would have been in Colombia during lockdown. Yep, that makes sense. Norina says, would have been in Ukraine. I think Ukraine is one of the exceptions where we would put the, yeah, it's one of those countries where we actually put an article the before it. So would have been in the Ukraine. Yep, that's a good sentence. Alejandro would have been in Spain. Okay, good. Well done, guys. We're doing well. Let's do one more. Let's look at a negative, okay? I hadn't, let's see, if I hadn't, ooh, okay. I'm gonna add this one in here. Yep, I'm gonna go with that one. Okay, let's go with this. Couple of negatives, a little bit harder this one. Let's see how we do. So if I hadn't something up, so we need to think of, is it break, broke, or broken? Up with Kate, I still think I wouldn't her. So this time we're going for a negative. So it's, again, we're talking about a past. It's an alternative past, but still with the same outcome. So even though some things would have been different, we're saying the outcome would still have been the same. So let's have a little look. And then we'll move on to talking about what is the meaning of these sentences as well. And we'll finish off with seeing what you guys can come up with as well. So let's have a little look what you guys come up with. So the first part, you need to think of the past participle of break. And then we've got I still think. If you say still think, it means there's no change. No change. So don't remember it. So remember, if you ever hear someone say, I still think, it means there's no change. There's no change to the situation in their mind. They think there's no change in some way. So I still think I wouldn't. Then we need our present perfect. The verb is marry. So we need to think of the past participle of marry. Don't forget, it is a regular verb. And then you finish off with her. So let's see what you guys come out with. This is probably the hardest task so far, so we'll see how you guys do. Okay, so if I hadn't something up with Kate, I still think I wouldn't her. So the past, the end result is the same. The past, there's some difference in the past, but the outcome, the end, is still the same. And that's what we're talking about here. So let's see what you guys say in order to finish this sentence. I think you guys are going to do it because so far things are looking good. And I'm very pleased because this is not an easy bit of grammar, but I think you guys have done very well so far. And I'm feeling confident. So if I hadn't broken up with Kate, I still think I wouldn't have married her. Okay, Leondina, thank you very much. Let's see if everyone else agrees with you. I think that's a very good start. Let's see what everyone else ends up saying. Feel free at some point if you would like to put in your own ideas as well, your own sentences. After this one, though, we are going to look at meaning. Now, so we will have a look at that because meaning is important. And we use it in order to talk about a certain meaning as well. Stefano says, if I hadn't broken up with Kate, I still think I wouldn't have been happy with her. Okay, so you've expanded on that and you've changed the verb, but yes, that makes sense. Good. Okay, so let's now look at the meaning of what we're talking about. I'm going to write a sentence and I'm going to give you options for meaning, A or B. And you guys need to decide if it's meaning A or meaning B. So we have this sentence, if I hadn't hurt myself skiing, I wouldn't have come to Malta. What does this mean? A. Or B. So is it A or is it B? So this is the sentence, if I hadn't hurt myself skiing, I wouldn't have come to Malta. Actually, I should probably change that to injured myself. I should probably have gone with that. Well, I think no. Hurt is fine. Hurt is fine. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yes, it is. A and A. Good. Well done. Yes, that is the correct meaning. Let's look at Alejandra and Irina also agree with you. Great. Fantastic. Well done. Let's look at the next one. A bit more complicated, but let's see. Irina F, yes, correct. So is it meaning A? Or meaning B? Only China was affected, or the world was affected by the virus because it left China? And we're saying that this is in fact an alternative thing. Maybe I can write it better, actually. Yeah, I'm going to change this one. I think B isn't written well enough. Okay, I've written B again because I think I didn't write it well enough. So B, I've written as, unfortunately, the virus left China because if it didn't, the world would be fine. You can see that I've in this I've written I put in a little second conditional to help explain the meaning. Irina says B after my new option of B. Let's see if other people agree with you. And then we'll do one more, and then we'll finish off with a little bit of a quiz kind of thing. In terms of well, we'll finish off with a different activity. But yeah, so the sentence, if the virus hadn't left China, the rest of the world wouldn't have been affected. A, only China was affected, but that's not quite a complete sentence. That's the problem. B, unfortunately, the virus left China because if it didn't, the world would be fine. So the correct answer here is B. Let's go again. Please, what does to affect mean? What does affect mean? What does to affect? Oh, right. I see what you're writing. Affected. No. Looking back at it, I'm going to say this. That was a typo. No. That's a typo. I meant affected. Sorry. I meant that. I wrote an E instead of an A. Silly mistake of mine. No, affected. Sorry, affected. Not affected. Affected. Apologies. That was a typo. Meant to be an A. Okay, right. So what was I going to write? Yes, if yes, that was what I was. That's what I was going to write. If Messi hadn't scored the penalty, oh gosh, what have I written? need to be a little bit careful. I type a little bit too quickly sometimes. If Messi had scored the penalty, Real Madrid would have won. So, is it option A? Or is it option B? So, who won the game in reality? Barcelona or Real Madrid? If Messi hadn't scored the penalty, Real Madrid would have won. Leondina says A. Let's see if other people agree with you. And if they do, and we're looking at this, then I have to say Alejandra agrees with you. A. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, this is looking good. Okay, so guys, you can feel really pleased with yourselves. Irina F says A as well. Wow. Okay. So guys, I am absolutely delighted. The third conditional, this is an introduction to the third conditional. We've got mixed levels, but I'm delighted to see that you have all understood, which is really important. You've understood how the construction, how to make a third conditional, and you have shown that you understand the meaning of a third conditional as well. Now, when do we use the third conditional when writing or when talking? It's when we start looking back and we start thinking about things in the past and how different the past could have been, would have been. Okay? So we use the third conditional to talk about how different the past would have been, could have been, might have been. Okay? How different the past could have been or would have been. So we often use it to talk about our experiences. So I'm now going to ask you guys a question, and you guys can answer it in the third conditional. So let's see how you guys answer. We're going to talk about a different past for you guys. So, if you hadn't come to Malta to learn English, where would you have gone? So let's see what you guys respond to that. If this is now the question. So we're entering the last 5 minutes of the lesson. This is the question. You'll have to answer it in the third conditional, and you can answer it with I would have gone to the UK. For example, that's what we would write as an answer. So if you want to go with the full third conditional with if, so you repeat the first part of it and then give me your answer, you can do. Or if you want to give me the short answer, you can say, I would have gone to the UK. And if you want to give me a really short answer, then you can say, I would have gone to Ireland, for example. So those are your two sort of natural responses. If you want to ask me a question, you can do. So let's see what you guys respond. If you hadn't come to Malta to learn English, where would you have gone? Would you have gone to the USA? Would you have gone to Canada? Would you have gone to Ireland, the UK, Greece? Where else? Australia, New Zealand? Or would you have stayed in your country and learnt English in your own country? So let me know what your answer to this question would be, or what your answer to this question is, actually. What is the answer to this question for you? So this time, you guys have to try and produce and make the answer completely. So have a go. Irina says, I would have gone to Canada. Great answer. Well done, Irina. Fantastic answer. I would have gone to Canada. Do you know which city you would have gone to? Would you have gone to Vancouver, Toronto? Yeah. Where would you have gone? I can tell you, for instance, if I hadn't come to Malta, I think I would have gone to Australia, if I think about it. Yeah, I think I would have gone to Australia if I hadn't come to Malta. Alejandra says, I would have stayed in Colombia. Well done, Alejandra. Fantastic answer. Good stuff. Okay, great. Let's ask another question. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Oh, Stefano has given his answer. If I hadn't been in Malta at AM school to learn, I might not have learned English that, oh, so close. You're really close there, Stefano. Yeah, first of all, make sure you don't forget English to learn English. I might not have learned English, instead of that good, that well. You'd have to finish with that well instead. Irina has replied saying, Toronto is a good city. Yeah, great. Irina F has said, I would have gone to the UK. Fantastic answer. Great stuff. Let's finish off with one last question. Okay. If you, let's see. If you hadn't, Alejandro has asked, is it possible to use if I would have? No. No, I'm not going to be able to use if I would have. I would have to say if I had. That's why I have to use the past perfect. The only modal verb you can actually use is could. Okay, I'll give you an example. If I could, and I'm going to have to change the structure of my entire conditional. For instance, if I could have gone to the USA, then I would have gone to New York. But this is a really complicated version of a conditional. This is a really weird one. I would say this is the next level up from the third conditional in some ways, because we're really playing around with the meaning. If I could have gone to the USA, then I would have gone to New York. This is a third conditional of some sort, but there's an extra layer to it, because as you can see, I can't use could and the past perfect. So if I want to use could, I then have to use the present perfect. So it is still a form of the third conditional, but it's adding an extra layer of a possibility that wasn't an option at the time. But that would have to be for another lesson. Okay, guys, well, this brings us to the end of the lesson. Thank you very much for joining. A massive thank you to everyone in the live chat, because we have had people of all different levels. Third conditional is difficult, and doesn't matter what level you guys were, you really did well. You managed to write some fantastic answers. So to all of you who participated in the live chat section today, Really, really well done. Irina says, thank you very much for the lesson and have a good evening. You too, Irina. You too, Alejandra. Thank you very much. You too, Maria. Thank you so much for joining, and really well done as well to some of you of the lower levels, because if you're pre-intermediate or elementary and you have taken part today, then really well done. This is not easy stuff. Fantastic job. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new, and please share these videos or the channel to people you know who are thinking of learning English, or who might not be able to travel to learn English because of the coronavirus. Stefano, thank you very much for being so patient with me. Not at all. Don't worry, Stefano. Thank you very much for participating today. Some really good sentences. Thank you. Arena says, have a nice evening. You too, Arena. Thank you so much. And Leandina says, thank you as well. Well, thank you, all of you. Thank you to everyone. And I will be back tomorrow, same time. And what am I teaching you guys tomorrow, actually? That's a good question. What am I teaching you guys tomorrow? I am teaching you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock. What am I teaching? See, I come up with this, these things, and then I forget what I'm teaching. So tomorrow I am teaching you guys if it loads. Here we go. When should I use a comma? Well, this is going to be good tomorrow. When should I use a comma? Yes, thank you very much, Arena. You got there before me. Yes, punctuation is tomorrow. When should I use a comma? Definitely tune in for that one, because there might be some real differences between English and your first language in terms of how we write and when we use commas. So definitely join in for that one. Thank you so much. We got lots of likes today. So guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. I hope you're all safe. I hope you keep yourselves well and healthy. And thank you very much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening, and bye for now.